Hi, today we're going to do a quick overview of the Windows Imaging and Configuration Designer tool for Windows 10. This tool allows us to create provisioning packages. These are a new feature of Windows 10 that allows us to configure and manage Windows, very similar to the way we do mobile devices currently. There's a few different methods for applying these provisioning packages that we create. And I posted a blog not too long ago called Applying Windows 10 Provisioning Packages. This just goes over very high level the three different methods Microsoft provides us for applying these provisioning packages. Those three methods are offline Windows imaging, which is essentially embedding it directly into our offline media using either DISM or the Wicked tool. We then have Windows imaging deployment, where we can use the Wicked tool and we can apply our customizations and our provisioning packages directly into our WIM, directly into our media right through the tool. And then we have runtime device provisioning. Runtime device provisioning is when we manually let our users apply these packages by simply double-clicking on them. That's what we're going to go ahead and review today, is just creating a quick provisioning package that's going to create a couple user accounts, and we will apply that to our Windows 10 device, and that'll be that. I'll be doing another video on applying these during the imaging phase, so the Windows imaging deployment phase, as well as a couple other videos on some other features and functions of the Wicked tool. So without any further ado, we will go ahead and go to create new provisioning package here, and we'll just call this add user accounts, and I'm going to leave it in the default project directory. Go ahead and hit next here. And I'm going to do common to all Windows desktop editions. Here, if we wanted to import an existing provisioning package that we had, we could, and then it would import those settings into our new provisioning package and allow us to continue configuring and modifying those. I'm just going to go ahead and finish, and here we have our Wicked tool. So we're going to focus on this runtime settings section here. Again, as I mentioned in a prior blog post, this is the section where we can make changes live while on the Windows desktop. These are the kind of changes and settings that can be made on the fly without having to be in specific provisioning passes during either Windows out-of-box setup or another phase. So we're going to look here at this accounts section. So we can computer account here. This is actually where we could join our machine to the domain if we wanted to. We could name our computer here, we could join it to the domain and provide credentials. We're actually just going to go ahead and create some users. So let's create test user 1, and we'll hit the add button here, and I'll go ahead and create test user 2, and I will hit the add button. So over on the left we can see we have this content in kind of they went with a maroon look, I suppose. And if we expand that, we can see the password has the exclamation point here. So we need to provide a password that we're going to use for this account. So I'll type a password in here, and you can see that it doesn't show the password, which is fantastic. If we wanted to assign this user to the admins or users group, we can do that here. I'll go ahead and assign user 1 to administrators. We can also define the home directory. I'm not going to bother doing that in here, but if you do have a custom home directory, you can absolutely define that. For user 2, I'm going to go ahead and set the password. And then I'm going to make this user a part of the users group. So now we have a couple of settings in our configuration package. We have quite a bit of settings we can go through. I'm not going to go through every one of these right now, but we will be spending a lot more time going through these and making different configuration changes and settings and how to different methods for applying these during imaging time and things like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and save and export this one. So I'll go ahead and save my project here. And then I'm going to go ahead and export this as a provisioning package. So I'm going to drop down the owner here from OEM, and I'm going to choose IT admin. I'm going to go ahead and leave the name and the versioning and the ranking. So the ranking, if you have multiple provisioning packages being applied, they're going to be applied in order according to rank. So very similar to, standard precedence. I am not going to encrypt this package simply because I don't want to remember this password for this demo, but if this is in a production environment, it does give us a capability to encrypt these packages. So if we do have things like passwords in them that may contain, some clear text somewhere or something, or just information that we don't want getting out, server names, other things like that, we can definitely encrypt these if we're going to keep them out on network shares. We can also sign them with certificates. But again, for the simplicity of this demo, I'm just going to go ahead and keep both of those unchecked. So here's where I'm going to go ahead and save it. This is just the default directory. I'll go ahead and hit save here, and I will build it, and it built it that quick. So here's our output location. I'll just go ahead and click on this link here, and it should open this folder for us. There we go. So now we can see I have a PPKG file. This is the actual provisioning package file here. This file is just a WIM file. You can rename this .wim, you can mount it, and you can look at the content inside of it. Here is the project XML file and the customizations XML file. These are the XML files that actually contain the content regarding what we're going to do. And as you can see here in the customizations.xml, here's our actual test user account, here's the password, and here's the user group that it's going to get applied to. So now that we have this PPKG, this configuration package, I'm just going to go ahead and copy this over to my Windows 10 box here. Just paste that right there on the desktop. And first thing I will show you, I do not have any test user accounts on this box. So if we look at the users I have, it's pretty straightforward. Out of the box, administrator, default, and guest. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to double click this provisioning package. UAC is going to do its thing. Then it's going to come up and say, and ask if it's from a trusted source. Now, if we had signed this package, we shouldn't get this notification. I'm going to go ahead and say yes, add it. And that's it. It's run. So we'll go ahead and refresh this, and now we have our test user 1 and our test user 2 account. We can see test user 1 is an administrator, test user 2 is a user, and there we have it. That is creating and applying a basic provisioning package in Windows 10. Thank you, and join me for some more later.